Coming up next, guys, we're going to go ahead and bring Lisa onto the show just a tad bit early today and hang out and chat with her. So everybody, welcome Lisa. How are you doing, Lisa?
Doing great. Excited.
Girl, thank you for being here. You're another one of the folks that I found on our triple negative breast cancer survivor group out there. Man, 7,400 women in that group.
Absolutely.
Lots of love there too. Don't you feel that?
Absolutely. Every time I sign on there.
I know it's so cool to see everybody just being an inspiration and giving hope and support to one another. And that's what's so wonderful about all these groups. And I think you're probably now going to be a member of the Survivors Rock, a breast cancer can stick it community as well, which is our group on Facebook for survivors. And we love to have you there. A lot of drummer breast cancer survivors in that group, which is really cool and unique.
Yeah, I've checked it out. I'm joining, definitely.
Excellent. Excellent. So, girl, want to take us back to when you were first diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. For those joining, triple negative breast cancer is a more rare and aggressive form of breast cancer, more likely to recur. Affects between 10 to 20% of women diagnosed with breast cancer. So, Lisa, tell us how all this went down. How did you find out you had breast cancer?
I had found a lump that was actually sticking out. You could see it through my shirt. So I ended up going and getting checked, and my mammogram doctor sent me to a radiologist. Radiologist sent me for a biopsy the day before Christmas Eve, 2015. And I said, well, should I bring someone in with me? He said, oh, no, not at all. So I go back there, I'm on the table. He does the biopsy, the surgeon, and he said, yep, you definitely got cancer. I said,
wow, he was able to tell you that right then and there. And this is Christmas Eve of all times?
yes.
They're like, fly solo, come Christmas Eve. We may or may not tell you if you have cancer.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I was, don't you have to send it off or something? He said, no, I've seen enough of them. He said, I'm going to send it off, but I've seen enough. I can tell you it's definitely cancer. And I'm there by in the room by myself because he wouldn't let anyone back there with me. And I didn't know what to say. I was just in shock. So the first thing I said is, I want a double mastectomy. I actually had to argue with him for about 20 minutes. And because he was insistent on, you only have 2 lumps, we can just do a lumpectomy. And finally, I was like, well, I'll just go see another surgeon. So he agreed to do it finally. And 2 weeks later, January 6th, he did the double mastectomy and found 5 tumors that did not show on any of those tests.
My God. How old were you at this point, Lisa?
I was just 2 months before I had turned 50.
Uh-huh. And so you found this lump, you said yourself, right?
Yes, I found it showering.
Uh-huh. Were you getting regular screening prior to that?
Yes, mammogram every year.
Yeah, yeah. And so you did a self-exam, you found it on your own. We were pushing that with Jeannie in the last segment, that self-examination and awareness and all that is so very important. I want to tell everybody again, go to breastcancercanstickit.org/get help now. There's a shower card for you to download right there, print out, put in your bathroom, and know what you're doing and watch for that. So it's such a great thing that you found this. And like we talked about, it's actually considered young if you find breast cancer before the age of 50. That's actually a young age. And triple negative breast cancer is more prominent in younger women too. So Christmas Eve, get the biopsy, find out you've got breast cancer. You're by your stinking self, which sucks. I can't believe that. And then you decide you want to do a double mastectomy. At this point, when they let you know that you had breast cancer, and now at some point in this flow, they've told you the details about your breast cancer. You knew you had 2 lumps. You knew it was triple negative breast cancer. It was probably high grade, because I know that high grade is a lot of times triple negative is high grade.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've got all this information about your breast cancer. What was their recommended? I know that your surgeon, he was recommending just a lumpectomy, but what was like an oncologist recommended course of treatment as far as surgery and other treatments go?
Well, to be honest with you, it was probably 3 weeks before I heard the words triple negative breast cancer. I was sent to an oncologist and they had set up, I believe it was 26 rounds of chemo, 32 rounds of radiation. I was going to have implants or expanders put in during my mastectomy surgery. And at this point, I still had not heard of triple negative breast cancer. I just knew I had breast cancer. Breast cancer is breast cancer.
Wow.
Right.
So
After my surgery, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, so yeah, when did you find out that it was triple negative?
After my surgery, about just under 2 weeks after the surgery, I noticed my flesh was turning black and it smelled. So I went back to the cosmetic surgeon and, I asked him, I said, do I have gangrene? He said, no, sweetheart. It'd be gangrene if it was in your feet, but not your breast. And I'm thinking, I know you can get gangrene anywhere.
Is this the same guy that you had to argue about having a double mastectomy? This is a different guy. This is a
This was a
cosmetic
different one. Yes.
cosmetic surgery. Okay.
And I said, well, should I be on an antibiotic? He said, well, I'll tell you what, sweetheart, if it makes you feel better, make an appointment for 10 days out and we'll take a look at it. And I said, okay, well, number one, I'm not your sweetheart. I'll talk to you later. My sister was with me then. And from
I'm
that,
starting to like you more and more. Keep going.
from that appointment on, my sister never left my side. So as we're walking to the car from his office, she's dialing a phone number she had seen on the TV, Cancer Treatment Centers of America. I'm in Virginia for some reason, and I have a cancer treatment center 2 hours from me. My insurance sent me all the way to Arizona, but I believe everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that could happen where they'd just be like, hey, this is the best one for you. It's on the other side of the country, like literally.
And when I got there, I immediately seen the surgeon, and I laid that night in what they called a bleach bath. And they had to put a mask on me because the bleach was so strong. I had went sepsis, which the infection had went into my bloodstream. And he told my sister that, he said, 24, 32 hours max, you'd have been making other arrangements. They took me immediately into surgery. And when I come out is when he told me, yeah, it's triple negative breast cancer. So that was when I first heard those words.
And
of course, the first thing you do is go to Google.
Yeah. What did the surgery entail that they did whenever they found out it was gangrene, you were septic and all of that?
I had to have a second double mastectomy. So, both breasts were removed again, which meant additional tissue, skin, which was going to make it even more difficult if I decided to have reconstruction.
Right.
So they had to go in and they removed a lot. I had just looked like valleys in my chest. I was horrified when I seen it, but I was relieved because I felt, I knew I could trust them. As soon as I walked in that door, I felt like I was walking in my own home.
And this is the Cancer Treatment of America in Arizona, right?
Arizona, yes.
So they took you under their wing and kind of drove it from there. You came to them and you were septic with gangrene and they just really took charge and took such good care of you.
They really did.
So, and at this point, when you had the second double mastectomy, so you had the first mastectomy, now you're having a second double mastectomy. Are you planning to have reconstruction at this point, at that point in time, or?
No, at that point, I didn't want reconstruction. It was probably not till a year later that I decided that. And that was simply because I didn't mind being flat chested. I didn't like that when you looked at me, my chest like caved in because so much flesh had to be taken because of the gangrene.
Wow, that must have been so terrifying to go through that. Um, I mean, it's one thing. It's a lot of times I talk to women who've gone through breast cancer or triple negative breast cancer, and they have some other weird thing that sidelines them, you know. And
Mhm.
this was your weird thing for sure with the becoming septic and the infection and all of that stuff. Um, but so thankful that they were able to take that and get you, you know, well and save your life essentially.
Right.
Yet again, it's like you had your life threatened by being diagnosed with breast cancer, then again triple negative breast cancer at that, and then with this happening, it's like they're just constantly
Mhm.
saving you and
More
helping you
than
get through
once.
that. And then you end up kind of concave as a result because of all the flesh they had to take. So at this point, you decided that you were just going to stay flat.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And and another benefit was because he had removed so much, now I didn't have to have radiation. I did have to have chemo, but I didn't have to have radiation. So I had to have, I believe it was 8 rounds of chemo. It was 4, and they were doubled. 4 rounds of one kind, and then I'd switch to the other one, 4 rounds of that. However, when I got to the 7th round of chemo, and like I said, my sister never left my side, but she had went down to the lunchroom to have some lunch. And I'm sitting in there, and within moments of that chemo, I knew something was wrong. I went into anaphylactic shock. My heart stopped.
My gosh.
Yeah. They're screaming for my sister, Susan, Susie. No,
You're
Susie, Susie.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. So they
Jeez.
had to call. Yeah. I'm that one in a million.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, how did the like what when you go into anaphylactic shock, you get that epinephrine shot, right? They have to do that, and is there like if you're in chemo and then you go into anaphylactic shock, and then you get this shot on top of that, is there a risk associated with all that? Like, what happened? Like, did they give you that shot? What all happened?
Yeah, they did. It's funny. They gave me the shot, and I mean, they just take it and just jab it into you. I was totally out of it. Um, they jabbed it into me. They called a rescue squad. They screamed for my sister who was downstairs. Um, rescue squad came. My doctor, my oncologist, and Dr. Cynthia Lynch, and my nurse, Jody, they all came running up to the chemo room. They put me on the gurney and took me off to another hospital because at Cancer Treatment Center, basically they just treat cancer. But my heart had stopped. I seen absolutely everything that went on. I seen my sister standing there crying, every bit of it.
So you weren't fully conscious, but you remember seeing all of it happen, almost like you were watching it happen.
Yes, they
Like,
told me my heart stopped, and I had pictures of it. I had told my sister from the very get-go, I videotaped everything from the very beginning. And I said, if I'm out of it or coming out of surgery, you video. So I have pictures of me, and my face literally looked like a basketball, just perfectly round. And my blood pressure was like 70/47. And I, like I said, I can remember. And the bad thing, my sister was there by herself, so she had no one, except we had made a lot of friends there at the hospital. And they came to the other hospital where I was to support and be with my sister, so she wasn't alone. And she never left my side. So it was just the strangest thing. But I was able to tell them when I got out of the hospital, I was able to tell them everything they did, everything they said, where they shoved that epinephrine shot, every bit of it.
Wow. So do you like, would you go as far as to say you had an out of body experience, like you watched it from above, like you were watching
I,
yourself? Or
yes, my I could see myself, but more so, I could see everyone else in the room. I could see my doctor, my oncologist, standing there with her hand over her mouth, sobbing. I could see my sister just bawling, boo-hooing. I seen every bit of it.
do you remember feeling, because now I'm obsessed with this part of it. Do you ever remember like feeling like you wanted to scream or say something but you couldn't, or were you
But
just
you
kind of
couldn't.
watching? Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'll tell you,
Wow.
I have some crazy stories because, and like I said, I videotaped. I sent you the one picture of the angel. It
Yeah, I'm
was
gonna
just
try to find that to bring it up here in just a second. I'll see if I can
a
find that to bring it
miraculous
up.
place. God's everywhere, but he is definitely at Cancer Treatment Centers of America in Arizona. It just, there's nothing else. I know, and people say, oh, you were dreaming. I know what I seen. And like I said, more so, I seen everybody else. I seen me, but the focus wasn't me. It was everybody else. More so my sister and my doctor and my nurse.
Right, right. That's so crazy. And that picture, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try to find it to pull it. I mean, I know where it is. I just need to get it in a position where I can pull it up and show everyone because it is absolutely amazing. So all this stuff has happened. I just want to get everybody up to speed if they're just joining Lisa. So Lisa is a triple negative breast cancer survivor. She was found out she had breast cancer around 50 years old, and following that, she had a double mastectomy, then had a horrible infection, had to have a second double mastectomy, and when she started chemo, she went into anaphylactic shock as an allergic reaction to the chemo, and now we're talking about having gone through that as well. So for this story, having triple negative breast cancer is only part of it, but it's spawned into all of these other horrible effects that are just miraculous that you have come through. So what did that do for your treatment moving forward? Because as I would understand it, you're allergic to that chemo treatment. They can't give you that chemo treatment anymore. Is that right?
Well, that was actually my second treatment of that type of chemo. So what they did, and I was devastated. My chemo, I had one more chemo session left, but they stopped my chemo right there. I was devastated. They said, well, Lisa, you can go ring the bell. I was, no, 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 I can't. I didn't finish chemo because I felt like I was cheated in a way. I wanted all of my chemo. I wanted everything that they had told me I needed. And then I was scared. Well, I didn't get all my chemo. My cancer's coming back. I was devastated. It was so scary for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, whenever the doctors tell you, "Hey, this is the treatment plan for you," and then they kind of pull the plug on that treatment plan, it's terrifying. So, did they actually pull the plug and you had to start some new treatment, or did you just stop, or did you?
No, it stopped right there. The treatment stopped.
And so you had no more chemo moving forward. Is that right?
No more chemo because they told me. And that visit, that was when I came back. My sister came, and now she was scared to death to come by herself in case something happened again. So she brought my oldest son with her, and they were just begging me to ring the bell because the doctor said, well, you can ring the bell. And I was insisting I wasn't going to ring it because I didn't finish my chemo. But they talked me into it. And for my sister and my son, I rang that bell.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And so, how long ago was this that your last chemo happened?
My last chemo was in 2017.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So about 4 years ago. And
Yes.
are you still seeing an oncologist regularly? Do you go to Arizona still for your appointments?
Well, I do. I still go every 3 months, which was a surprise to me because I'd always heard, after the first year, you go every 6 months, then once a year. But because it's such a rare and aggressive type cancer, I still go every 3 months. However, with the COVID, Now I can't fly out there. So I have virtual appointments with my oncologist. Um, and then she'll send, me labs that I just take to my primary doctor, and they'll do all the blood work for her.
Gotcha. Well, that's good that they were able to figure out a way to get everything done and get the numbers that they need to know that you're safe and that
Yeah.
you're continuing to be a triple negative breast cancer survivor that's currently
Proper.
cancer free, which is awesome. We love to be cancer free
Amen.
forever. We're set for that for sure. Um, so wow. So geez, that's a lot packed into your breast cancer story. So, have you ever had a point in time, Lisa, where you have been like, you know what, going flat was a bad idea or anything like that?
I did. And I believe, and I was insistent the whole time that I was not going to get reconstruction. But that concave, I was so self-conscious, and I had tried putting bras on and putting tissue down in the part that sunk in to kind of just fill the space, not to make it look like I had breast, but just so it wasn't sunk in. And it didn't work. So finally I was like, yeah, I've got to do something, because it was just driving me crazy.
Right. And I'm
Yeah.
working off screen right now to bring up that picture that you were talking about so that everybody can see it. So give me a second. I'm gonna get it on the screen, and you can explain it to everybody, okay? Because I really want to talk about that. So I'm gonna put
Absolutely.
it on the screen right now. People won't be able to hear me, but they'll be able to hear you. So if you could tell everybody about this photo that I'm showing right now.
Okay. Well, I'm having chemo in a cubicle, and every cubicle you can see from floor to ceiling windows, and it overlooks a just magnificent cactus garden. So I'm watching, looking out there, and I have my cell phone. I'm kind of snapping pictures, and I look down to my phone to see what time it is. And then I go right back to snapping pictures, and I didn't even focus. I just look at my phone, see what time it is, go back up, snap. And this was on the window. Immediately, I screamed for my nurse. I said, Bill. And of course, he got there in seconds. It was gone. It was gone. I had people try to tell me, oh, it was a bird that hit the window. For a bird to have hit the window to leave that imprint, one, I think it would have broke the window. Two, me and everybody else in here would have heard it hit that window. There was no sound. It was there, and then it was not.
Oh wow, man. So
Incredible.
yeah,
I've been
truly.
blessed in so many ways.
Yeah, and the part that you didn't mention that I remember that you mentioned to me was that you were having a little, and I'm only bringing this up because each one of you guys I talked to before the show said you were an open book.
Mhm.
But you mentioned that you were having a long conversation with God when that happened,
Yes, I
and
had my rosary in my opposite hand.
yep. Yep. And so it all kind of made sense and went together for sure. It's such a miraculous story, Lisa. It's so crazy, man. So
I could not
crazy.
have planned the timing any better. I was having a conversation with him. I did most of the talking, he did the listening. And throughout this entire journey, I've never asked why. I figure, why not? Better me than my sisters or my kids. But I was just saying, I don't know why you've chosen this for me, but you'll reveal it in your time, not mine. And I'll do your work through this, whatever that may be. Look, there it is. And he was saying, you're not alone in this. Yeah,
So amazing. I can
incredible.
totally I can totally relate to the whole feeling of there's a point to all this and kind of finding your calling with it, and certainly your sharing of your story is something that we all know will be an inspiration and hope to many other women out there going through triple negative breast cancer. And Lisa, I'm going to take a second here and check in with a few of our viewers and just give everybody a big shout out real quick. I'm going to go backwards here. Kat says, Lisa is a great role model. Thank you. Very thankful to have my baby sister. So that's your sister there. She said that you
I
have
love her
always.
to pieces.
Yeah, Kat says, Lisa has always kept a positive attitude. Uh, oh, and somebody asked earlier, sorry, I missed this comment. Dawn asked, did Dr. Joyce speak already? Joyce O'Shaughnessy will be on at 8 p.m. Central Time. Just want you to know. We also have a person who's asking a question. They want to know, do you have some advice for someone who is newly diagnosed?
I think the number one thing that I tell people, and I just had a cousin call me 2 days ago that's been diagnosed, journal everything, and take someone with you to every doctor's appointment, because you're going to hear one word during that appointment. If that appointment lasts an hour, you're going to hear one word, and that's cancer.
So
take someone else with you that can take notes and then relay it all to you later when your head is back on.
Exactly. And I know many of our viewers who've watched the show before have heard me say something similar, where I recorded every time I was with any nurse or doctor through the entire time of my treatment to ensure I captured everything, because it is true. As the person going through it, it's very difficult to remember or hear anything else. Your mind is definitely clouded with the word cancer going over and over in your head. Let me see. I got a couple other comments over here. I just want to jump in and check out. Your sister says, Lisa is beautiful inside and out. She's the best sister. I'm very happy to have her back in my life. Very cool. Amen. And Karen wants you to know that you are a true hero.
Thank you.
And Debbie says she loves you also. And I'm just going to give a shout out to a few more people real quick. Lisa, I want to say hello to Latanya in Miami Beach. Thank you so much for being here today. You guys rock. Got so many people in the house. We got Karen from Gilbert, Arizona. Debbie from Virginia is here. Lots of amazing people. I also want to take just a quick second to remind everybody to please share out this broadcast. When we hit 50 shares, we have somebody who will donate $500 to help with triple negative breast cancer research. So please be sure and do that. And I'm going to have to ask our moderators to let me know how many times we've been shared, because I am not privy to that information. But I do also want to let folks know that we have gotten a few donations in, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Hang on. Let's see where we're at. I think we're at over $100 at this point. I don't have my eyeballs in, so I know that about 10 minutes ago we were at $100, and we're getting more as it comes. So be sure and go to breastcancercanstickit.org/TNBC, breastcancercanstickit.org/TNBC to donate today and help for research for triple negative breast cancer. Wow, girl. One of the things I also wanted to ask you real quick is, I'm sure that you had that you had some kind of positive something come out of this. And what do you feel was like the most positive thing that came out of going through triple negative breast cancer?
I had someone ask me that. One of I call them my CTC friends that I met there at the hospital. For me, honestly, I felt like when I grew up, I never had a relationship with my daddy. He was married to my mama. We lived together, but we just didn't really connect. I would get cancer again to have, because we connected then. Our entire relationship changed. Cancer was worth it for me. If it took cancer to have that relationship with my daddy, I'd take it again.
I swear you're going to make me cry right here on the show. That's really a wonderful thing to gain by going through something so horrible and tragic and such a huge obstacle that you had to overcome. And again, for those just joining, Lisa didn't just survive triple negative breast cancer. She survived a horrible infection in her breast that ended up making her septic. And then she also survived anaphylactic shock from chemo treatment. which ceased the chemo treatment there and then. So Lisa, how often are you going out? You said right now you're just doing every so often with your primary. They're sending things off over to Arizona to give them an update so they can keep track of you. So they're still monitoring you real good.
Every 3 months, my
Gotcha.
oncologist from Arizona sends me lab work to go have my blood done, and they forward it to her.
So they're keeping a close eye on you for sure. And wow,
They are incredible.
what an amazing story. Well, do you feel like there's any part that we didn't tap into that you want to share with our viewers tonight, Lisa?
I'd just say, and when it first happened, you could have said it to me 100 times. I wouldn't have believed you. Life does go on. It's a chapter in your life. It's not the whole novel. It gets better.
I feel like you were put on the show to try to make me cry tonight. Stop it. I'm like the whole thing with your dad, and then that is such solid wisdom to share on with folks watching, and I'm just so grateful that we were connected through the triple negative breast cancer survivor group and had this opportunity to chat, and I get to virtually meet Kat, your sister, over here in the chat room, who's leaving all kinds of positive things for you. Oh, looks like we have another possible.
Debbie's my good friend.
Is Debbie the one of your CTC friends?
No, she's one of my friends here in Virginia.
Gotcha. Very cool. I think I
Yeah.
saw another comment come through. Kristen was asking how long it's been. It's been 4 years, right, since you had
Yes.
you finished your treatment. So
Yes.
Daniele says your grandpups Tito and Emmy love you too. Daniele, that's awesome. Well, girl,
Because
man,
I have no grandchildren,
yeah. Well, girl,
except I have 2 little boys.
uh-huh. Wow, such a loving family, such a wonderful support system that you're so blessed to have and to be able to share your story today. And I can't wait for even more folks to watch this replay. And Lisa, we're going to definitely put your interview up on our YouTube channel at Breast Cancer. I'm sorry, I got triple negative on my lips right now. YouTube.com/breast cancer can stick. YouTube.com/breast cancer can stick. We will have all the interviews from tonight will be going up on that channel over the next month or so. So we're so thankful that you can make it here this evening and be a part of the show and share your story and provide hope and wisdom to others going through triple negative breast cancer. And I can't wait to see you out there in our survivor groups, girl.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
I love
I
you, girl.
appreciate it, and God bless you.
God bless you too. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thanks.
Awesome. You guys give it up for Lisa. She is an awesome rock star. So pleased to be able to have her on